At what point did you know that your mom had passed away?
Oh man, it was probably when we were at the station, and they literally had to come in there and tell me that my mom didn't make it.
Mm.
Um, I cried, I broke down, but me, I'm a person of hope, and I always hope, I always believe in the impossible, because
Mm-hmm.
God could make anything possible
Mm-hmm.
if you believe in Him. So I was just hoping and praying that somehow, some way, they got
Yes.
it wrong and she came back around, but she was
Yes.
like in a critical state,
Yes.
something.
In
But
your
then
heart,
when we,
in your heart, you was like, Lord, don't let this be the case. If she, Lord, let it, do a miracle. You were kind of hoping that that
I
wasn't
was,
the case.
because at the end of the day, I mean, that was my mom. My mom was like a best friend to me. Me and my mom had a very good relationship. Um, and we went back to the house, and next thing you know, I'm in my uncle's truck, and I hear a lot of screams.
Mm.
And I just so happened to peep out the window, and I seen the stretcher with the body bag.
Mm. So, hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Love, Luster, Lies, your favorite new podcast. I hope you've been enjoying some of the content that we've been putting out. We interviewed Michelle, and some of y'all have watched. Hope you had a chance to watch some of her story. When you think about what you heard in her story, if you had a chance to watch it, it just really helps us to know how real this stuff is, and that everybody in this world cannot be trusted. And that's what this show is all about, really having candid conversations about who are these people. It's so many people on the dating scene, people looking to be married, and it's some imposters out there, male and female, men and women, imposters. And my hope is that this channel will help save somebody from an imposter. And so I'm just thankful to God. I'm thankful for all of you who've been supporting us, supporting this channel. And we got to get the word out. So listen, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure when these episodes come out, you already know it's going to be good content, because I'm not playing. I'm sick and tired. I'm tired of the devil just fooling people, deceiving people. And this is something that has to be done. Something that has to be done. You got to send these videos to your friends, your family, people that you come across that you might not know. Somebody God might just bring across your path. You need to send them this, because I promise you, it can save a life. It might be the seed planted from you sharing that video that helped them to have greater discernment, that helps them to see, some imposter, some crazy person that's trying to pretend and come into their life. And so, you know, please, let's just work together. You work with me, I'm gonna work with you, and let's just work together to try and help our people. Again, men and women, white, black, Chinese, everybody. It's happening to everybody. I'm telling you, you're gonna see as these interviews come out, this thing is no respecter of person. And so I'm so thankful to have this platform. I'm thankful for everybody who's been helping and supporting. Um, this topic today is something that I'm just thanking God that we can have this conversation. I have a guest today, somebody who's so special. It's a young man who is he's a rock star. God has brought him from a long ways through what he has been through. And when you hear his story, he's such a special person. And I'm just so thankful that he is with us today, all the way from the Golden State on the West Coast of California. So he's with us virtually. but there's no distance in what he is about to share with us. And I need y'all, sometimes we get busy. If you busy, don't watch this yet. Wait till you have a second to really sit down and lock in and hear what he has to say. Because by the time we finish, it's gonna move something in us, I promise you. So without further ado, I want to introduce to y'all my new adoptive son, CJ. Hey, CJ.
What's good?
I'm good on this end. How are you?
I'm all good on the West Coast.
Very good, very good. I know it's getting late over there, so we ain't gonna waste a whole lot of time. But I want to thank you for taking time to be with us and to share with our audience just some of the realness that you have experienced, some of the realness that you have been through. Just very thankful. And I also want to take time to introduce our co-host. I don't would be remiss, as they say, if I didn't do that. Dr. Delicia, who's with us. We're very thankful and excited to have you. And so I want to start and just play a clip of the news story that broke after your mom's situation. And then I'm going to pose a question to you and we're going to jump right in. So I'm going to take a minute and they're going to play this video. It's 2.5 minutes. And then we're going to get it started.
Sounds good.
Good evening to you, friends. I'm Greg Merriweather.
And I'm Elizabeth Vowell. When Monica Butler Johnson's husband viciously killed her with a baseball bat, hardly anyone could see any good come out of her death.
What happened to this woman here, as heinous as it was, might be a game changer for domestic violence in our area. Plenty of people still remember her face. Tonight, Graham Olkins learned what happened with her is changing at least the way one department responds to domestic violence calls. Graham.
Guys, it was a somber night here in Gonzales after an emotional day in the courtroom for the family of Monica Butler Johnson, the woman who was beaten to death by her estranged husband here in Ascension Parish in 2015. The event tonight was to make sure that something like that never happens again. It was a hot August night in 2015 when deputies found the body of Monica Butler Johnson in the backyard of her Geismar home. She'd been killed with a baseball bat in front of her two sons. Today, over 2 years later, her ex-husband, David Johnson, was sentenced to life in prison. It's a case that's had a profound impact on this community and the office sworn to protect it.
We see this too often, and we knew we had to shine a light on it. We knew we have to reinvent how we respond to domestic violence.
And that's exactly what they did after Johnson's death, with a revamped domestic violence field assessment. Deputies worked directly with the Iris Domestic Violence Center to counsel victims at the scene and get them to immediate safety with a plan moving forward. Judges also get involved to make sure offenders get to court quickly.
There are people who care. All of you here care.
The network of support does seem to be growing, and some progress is being made. Louisiana's rate of domestic homicide improved slightly this year.
Louisiana was second, and in the latest statistics, we have dropped down to third. So that may be progress, but we are still twice the national average for women being killed by men.
Those women represented by silhouettes and candles at this annual Take Back the Night event. Part of the message is that men need to be stronger allies in supporting this cause.
We could talk to our male counterpart, and we can call them down. We could call them out. We could help stop this, and we really need to take the charge on some of this and try to change that culture and not remain silent.
Speaking out for people like Monica Butler Johnson, a woman whose tragic death will forever serve as a reminder of what's at stake. If you or someone you know needs help getting out of a dangerous situation, you can always call the IRIS 24-hour crisis hotline. It's 389-3001 anywhere in the Baton Rouge area. Reporting in Gonzales, I'm Graham Olkins. Back to you guys.
Graham, thank you so much. New tonight.
CJ, 2015. That was almost 10 years ago. What was the year 2015 like for you?
My graduation party, man, everybody was having a good time. We had the DJ. We had my uncle on the grill. Everybody was just having a good time, you know. I had some of my friends, old, new, people that I've known since I was gay high, that I reconnected with. Um, yeah, everybody was just having a good time. My mom was dancing. I saw my mom in a light that I never seen before,
Okay.
you know, because people that know my mom, they know my mom is very prompt, on point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's very, what's the word? I wouldn't necessarily say sedity. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to
La
her. I wouldn't do
bougie,
that.
bougie
She a
maybe.
little bougie. She a little bougie. You know, she on the bougier side. She like the finer things in life. Okay,
Yes.
put it like I'm
We
gonna
know
put it
that.
like that. You know, people that knew my mom, she knows she was a woman of class.
Yes.
You know, she was a woman of stature. She was a woman of virtue. You know,
Beautiful.
everybody, a lot of women looked up to her. Even men looked up to her because of the impact that she had on people's lives and how she carried herself and how much of a public figure she was in the community of Baton Rouge.
Yes.
Um, and people just wanted to be around her because she was just so infectious.
Wow. That's
Her
beautiful.
positivity, her energy, she just spread it. And she always wanted to give,
Mm-hmm.
give back and pour into people's lives, because that's who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she lived by. And that's a standard she uphold herself to.
Yes. So the
Because,
so the night of that graduation, you describe us having just the really the time of her life. You're her firstborn, right?
yeah, I
You're
am
the
her
firstborn.
born,
So her
firstborn.
firstborn graduated from high school, and every mama we proud of our babies. You know they.
Graduated from high school, got
Yes.
accepted into college,
Yes.
you
Got was
know.
accepted into
Mama
college.
proud of me.
She was very proud, and
Mama proud of
so
me.
she was letting her hair down that night. Family was
Oh
together.
yeah,
Y'all was
she was.
celebrating.
She was. She was celebrating, even though I didn't go to
Yes.
the college that she wanted me to go to. But
Yes.
I went to college.
But she
She
was
wanted
still
me to.
happy.
She said she wanted me to go to LSU because she graduated from LSU. She got her bachelor's there,
Okay.
in business administration, and she a big, huge LSU fan too.
Okay.
Forever and ever, she will always rep the purple and gold.
Go Tigers.
She
Yes.
bleeds purple and gold. Go Tigers.
Yes.
Even when the team losing, she still repping them. When the team winning, she repping them.
She was a
She
big
loves
Tigers
LSU.
fan.
Always go to the games. Always has season tickets. And then when I decided to go the opposite way and go be a Southeastern Louisiana University Lion, she was like, okay. That okay was kind of like, you're in college, but even though you go to Southeastern, but you're in college, okay? It's
Yes.
fine.
I'm gonna do a reverse like interview here. I want to start with that night, and then I want to talk about what led up to that night. So the night of the graduation party, your graduation, we talked about the high and everybody they're celebrating and things going well, and people left that night. And
Yeah.
if you can describe what happened that night.
Um, After graduation party, I remember this clear as day. Everybody dispersed. I went upstairs. Um, my little brother went upstairs. I was in my room. My mom was downstairs with my uncle um, and a couple of our friends,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And they were down there for a while. They were just sitting at the table talking, shooting the shot, just catching up on life, just talking about anything and everything. I wasn't paying attention. I stay out of grown folks' business.
Uh-huh.
Um, but probably maybe like an hour later, I was just in my room playing my game. My uncle texted me and he said, "Hey, your mom is cleaning up. Go help her. She's out there taking the trash
Mm-hmm.
by herself." So I'm like, okay. So got up But right before I exit out my room, somebody comes running through the house saying, "Oh, CJ, your dad's here. Your dad's here." And I'm just sitting there puzzled. I'm just like, "Huh? My dad lives in Donaldsonville. Why would he be here?" And then it kind of clicked in my head. I was like, "Oh." And once it clicked in my head and I registered what he actually meant, and then I had to go into fight or flight mode. So I ran downstairs and I called the police. Dispatcher picked up 911, what's your emergency? I said, my mom's in trouble. Get here to this address. Gave him my address. Um, then the dispatchers started asking for a description of the individual that was harming my mom. And I'm just sitting there on the phone. In my head, I'm like, why are you asking me these questions? I think at one point in time, they asked me for your social security. I'm just like, what? Why you need a social security number? I don't know this man's social security number. So while I'm on the phone, I told my little brother to go get my baseball bat. He went and got it. He came down, he gave it to me. I told my little brother to stay here, and I gave him the phone. I said, here, talk to the cops. I don't want to deal with it. So I went outside, and I was on the porch, and I looked across the field, and I see my mom laying on the ground. And my stepdad was towering over her and choking her. So I yelled out to him, and he looked at me, and he said, "Don't come over here or I will kill you." So I made my way over. I proceeded to make my way over there, and I proceeded to engage and tried to fight him and protect my mom.
Yes.
So when I went out there, literally, it felt like I was out there for like a whole hour. I don't know. Time just
You were
was going
fighting
by.
your stepdad off, trying to fight him to get him off of your mom.
Yeah. So went out there, tried to fight him. We was going back and forth. We wrestled. At one point in time, I went back inside and grabbed the phone. Went outside to the front, screaming at the dispatcher, "Where's the cops? Where's the cops?" Because the station is really not that far from my house. It's maybe like a good, maybe like 10, 15 minutes. It was literally right there in Gonzales. So I ran back inside, went back outside in the back, fought him again. At one point in time, he actually knocked me down. And for some apparent reason, I couldn't move. He came over there to me with the baseball bat, and he was actually about to hit me with that. So actually, at that point in time, I thought I was dead.
Yeah.
And then for some apparent reason, this how God works. Because when I'm just like fast track, a couple like maybe like a year or two later after the incident, when I was talking to the DA at a meeting, they were telling me that before I got out there, she was already dead. That's what they told me. For what I'd seen,
Yeah.
she wasn't dead.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that I couldn't explain on how she was able to be reactive, responsive to me. Because when I went out there and I went over to my stepdad, I literally saw her turn her head and look dead in my eye.
Wow.
And that's what made me proceed to try and save her.
Wow. So you started
'Cause
fighting your stepdad with the bat.
Yeah.
And he was
I
tall.
saw-
You described him as a big man. You described
Oh.
yourself at that time as small, and he was.
Oh, I was small. That man, it was like David and Goliath, actually,
Wow.
to be honest, because that man, he was 6'3", 230 pounds at the time. He was a big dude. And I mean, had the spirit of God. I mean, God said, "Don't show no fear." So I walked in there with no fear. I was like, I can't show no fear right now. If I show fear, I ain't gonna come out of here alive. So
Yes.
went over there, tried to fight him. At one point in time, I was on the ground, laid out, because he actually hit me in the head, and I used to have a big gash across my head.
Wow.
And he came over there with the bat, and he raised it up, and then my mom coughed, and I saw her body move, and she coughed, and I heard her cough, literally.
Wow.
And once he heard that, he proceeded to go back to her and continue what he was doing in the first place to her. And
So
that
was
gave me
he
doubt.
assaulting her with his fist? Was he choking her, or how was he assaulting
So
her?
when everything first happened, when he first arrived on the scene, they told me from the autopsy that she had damage to her trachea. So basically, what he did is he choked her, put enough force right here on her trachea and broke her trachea.
Mm.
And from there, that's why they said she was dead before I even got out there. But you know, I believe otherwise.
So
And
while you were wrestling, he was coming to try and kill you and finish you off. And you
yep,
said, despite what the DAs told you, your mama coughed and
mm-hmm,
looked over, and with her
mm-hmm,
last bit of strength, that was her way of saving her baby.
yep, yep. I could put that on. I could put that on mom. I could put that on anybody. Like literally, I heard her cough,
And
and
it was
because
just
everything was,
what was needed to get his attention off of you and back
yep,
on her.
yep,
And what did you
yep.
do when he left you from, he was about to try to kill you. He left from you and he went back to her, and what did you do?
At that point, part of me wanted to stay out there and still fight, but at the same times, I had to realize that what she did was gave me time
Yes.
to figure out a way to get out.
Mm.
Um, so what I did, I just got up while he was distracted, and I ran through the house, and then I didn't know where DJ was at the time because I was so tunnel vision,
Yes.
and I remember seeing DJ looking through the window while I was fighting my
Oh
stepdad.
wow. That's your baby
Uh,
brother. DJ's your baby
yeah,
brother.
yeah, and I ran through it, and I went out to the front, and from there I heard the glass shatter,
Mm.
and from the back door. And I went back to the house because I remember I was like, oh damn, my little brother's still in there. So I ran over there. The door was locked, and probably I'm like praying to God. I was like, oh, please let DJ make it out. Please let him make it out.
Yes.
And lo and behold, he submerges from the house,
Mhm.
unharmed, unscathed.
Mhm.
I grabbed him.
What was the glass breaking?
It was the back door, from where I came from the backyard.
Okay.
Um, because from what was said is my little brother had ended up closing the door
Okay.
and locking it, and his dad had asked him to open it, but he
Mm.
refused. He refused to open it, and so he proceeded to break it.
He was trying to get in the house. He was still trying to get at
Mhm.
you.
He ran. My little brother ran. He hid
Mm.
and waited till the coast was clear for him to try
Wow.
to find a way out the house. And he found a way out the house, came to the garage door. As soon as I saw him, I picked him up
Mm.
and we went over across the street to the neighbor's house
Mm.
because I lived in a predominantly white neighborhood.
Mhm.
Um, and I knew that the neighbors across the street were black. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go over there
Mhm.
and see what's up. So
Mhm.
I hightailed across the street to the neighbor's house, knocked on their door. Uh, Neighbor asked who it was. I realized I still had a knife in my hand, so I put the knife down, put my hands up,
Mm.
trying to symbol, hey, I mean no harm.
Yes.
Um, And then from there, the neighbor had opened the door. And come to find out, the dispatcher I was on the phone with was next to the dispatcher that they were on the phone with.
Mm-hmm. So they were calling for
So,
help too.
yeah, they were calling for help too. And it just so happened that the dispatcher, that I was on the phone with had told them, was like, hey, that might be the boy from across the street, might be the kids from
Yeah.
across the street. They just had an incident. They are on the run from someone, so let them in. It was about a grace of God that happened, because who knows what would have happened if them two wasn't by each other. So they let me in. I fell to the floor, clenching my arm,
Because he had
because my arm
broke
was injured.
he had broke your arm.
Yeah, I had a big, huge contusion in my arm. I was gripping at that. My little brother, he's trying to console me, because at this point, it was a lot of emotions that was rushing through my head, through my body. Um, my little brother, he was trying to console me, and he was strong. He was strong. He was a strong little kid at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was trying to make sure his big brother was all right. We sat at the counter, at the dining room table of my neighbor's house, and literally, I was furious. I didn't know what to feel at the time, because um, felt that I failed, and I felt that the sheriff office has failed me and the community as a whole, because of what happened and how long it took them for them to respond
Yes. When
and to
did they
get there.
finally come, CJ?
It
How
was
long did it take?
probably, to be honest, it felt like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like an hour, but everything was happening so fast, you really
Mm-hmm.
couldn't keep track of time.
Yeah.
Um, but they finally arrived probably 2, 3 minutes after I got into my neighbor's house,
House.
and because I heard the sirens outside,
Mm-hmm.
fire trucks, police personnel, the whole
Mm-hmm.
9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I was mad. I was pissed. I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
go out there and give them a
Yeah.
piece of my mind, but something
Yeah.
told me not to. I just kept my mouth shut.
Yes.
Um, I was mainly worried about my mom more than anything, and
Right.
what's going on with her.
Yes.
Because as I was crossing the street to my neighbor's house, I heard pings of a baseball bat. You could literally hear the baseball bat cracking. That's how loud it
Mm.
was.
Was that
Um,
him continuing to
yeah,
assault your mom?
yeah.
Wow.
And once the sheriff office arrived,
Mm.
I went outside. Um, they saw me. They started asking me questions. And it was like, they saw my arm. That's why we need to get you to a hospital. And I was like, I got my
Mm.
little brother with me. Can he come with me? He was
Mm.
like, no, you can't come with you. Um, I was like, well, I need somebody here with him if he can't come with me, because I'm not about to leave him here by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not about to let y'all question him. He's
Mm-hmm.
beat.
Mm-hmm.
So um, my uncle ended up showing up, and I was going to call him, but he was already on his way back.
Mm-hmm.
And because first he had the reason he was on his way back towards our way, because he had uniforms for my mom's brother's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But then he had caught word
Mm-hmm.
of what happened,
Mm-hmm.
because after my stepdad left, he called people,
Mm-hmm.
a list of people from my nanny, my mom's sister,
Mm-hmm.
his ex-wife, his boss, and it was a certain amount of people that he called, basically to tell them what he did.
Mm.
Um,
Your stepdad called a list of people to
hmm
tell them what he did to your mom right after he
yeah,
did it.
yeah, and so that's what prompted my uncle to come back here even more. And I called him. He said he already knew, so he was on his way back. He
Yes.
was already 10 minutes away. He was hauling butt,
Yes.
um, going past rental and all that stuff.
You
He finally
also
showed up.
said that at one point the radio and media immediately started talking about it. And some
Yeah.
of your family, that was how they knew right away.
So yeah, like my mom's brother, my uncle, one of my mom's brother, and was on his way back to his house, and he had two of my cousins with him, his son and our older cousin, and that's how they found out. That's what they told me because they said they were on their way back to Donaldsonville, and there was crossing over the Sunshine Bridge, and from there, they heard it over the radio, uh, that um, about the whole situation, about the whole incident that happened, and that they were in hot pursuit of the suspect. And so
Mm,
that's what prompted them to turn around
mm,
and come towards the house. And most of the people that ended up coming back, that's how they actually found out was from the
mm-hmm,
radio.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know it got out that fast,
Right. At
to be
what
honest.
at what point did you know that your mom had passed away?
Oh man, it was probably when we were at the station and they literally had to come in there and tell me that my mom didn't make it.
Mm,
Um, I cried, I broke down, but me, I'm a person of hope, and I always hope, I always believe in the impossible
mm-hmm,
because God could make anything possible
mm-hmm.
if you believe in Him. So I was just hoping and praying that somehow, some way, they got
Yes.
it wrong and she came back around, but she was
Yes.
like in a critical state,
Yes.
something. But then when
In your heart, you was like, Lord, don't let this be the case. If she, Lord, let it, do a miracle. You were kind of hoping that that
I
wasn't
was,
the case.
because at the end of the day, I mean, that was my mom. My mom was like a best friend to me. Me and my mom had a very good relationship. Um, and we went back to the house, and next thing you know, I'm in my uncle's truck, and I hear a lot of screams.
Mm,
And I just so happened to peep out the window, and I seen the stretcher with the body bag, and
mm,
that's when it registered, and I was like, dang, this is actually real.
mm,
And from there, I didn't know what to feel at that point in time. I was just sitting there, emotionless,
mm,
staring
mm,
off into space, just trying to process, trying to find some way to cope, trying to figure out what to do with my life,
mm,
because my mom was gone. I mean, she was gone for good. There's no way I could get her back.
mm,
Um, After that, I decided to go to sleep. I was like, I'm gonna just sleep this off
mm.
because I don't know. I gotta be prepared, rested for what's gonna happen next because,
Yes.
ooh, I don't know what I'm gonna be dealing with.
Right.
I don't know if they caught my stepdad yet. I
Yes.
don't know what's gonna happen with DJ. I
Mm,
don't know. I already knew what was going on with me. I was 18 at the time, so
mm-hmm,
I was basically an adult in the system. So
mm-hmm,
I make my own decisions. But
mm-hmm,
as far as DJ, as far as my little brother, um, I did not know what was going to happen with him,
mm-hmm.
because being that the status of his dad, or if they caught him or not, or the parental rights, it
Mm-hmm.
was a whole bunch of legalities that was going to
Mm-hmm.
come in play
Yes.
at that time.
So Mr. Johnson was your little brother, your 8-year-old brother's. That was his biological dad, and that was your stepdad.
Yes, yes, correct.
So you're thinking,
Uh,
now that your mom's gone, you don't know
mm,
what's gonna happen to
yeah,
him.
there was a lot of stuff that plagued my mind. A
Mhm.
lot of thoughts rushing through my head.
Mhm.
Um, I tend to be an overthinker.
Uh huh.
There was a lot of scenarios that was
Yes.
playing through my head of what could possibly happen.
Mhm.
Um, but at that point in time, something just told me just go to sleep.
Mhm.
And that's all I really could do. I just could turn my phone off and go to sleep because I knew the media was going crazy with this story.
Mhm.
And the next morning, when I woke up,
Mhm.
literally woke up to so many calls, so many posts, and
Yeah.
it was all over. People all over the country heard about this.
Yes.
Um, I've gotten a lot of messages, emails,
Yes.
from random strangers
Yes.
just sending out their condolences. Media channels trying to reach out to interview me, and they couldn't get in contact with me. They tried to reach out to my family, but even on my dad's side of the family, like my aunt on my dad's side called me one time. She was like, "Hey, this person from this news from this media channel called me asking to interview me about your mom, blah blah blah." And I'm like, well, these people ain't gonna stop.
Yeah.
So
So,
I just told everybody, just say no, because I wanted my
you had to shut
family.
it down.
I had to shut it down because I wanted my family to be in peace.
Yes.
Uh, I wanted my family to be able to breathe in peace
Yeah.
instead of having the news media all over us
Yes.
and
It
just
sounds like
constantly.
you went into protective mode. Like you went into your mom. Like she gave
Yeah.
like some of her strength came on you
Hmm.
to be that one in that moment to kind of lead and guide and protect your
Yeah.
little brother and to be that glue.
Yeah. Because literally, when it came to that, um, I fought myself for this. I didn't give myself time to grieve because I was so worried about everybody else. I was trying to stay strong for everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
especially my little brother because he's 8. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what 8 year old would want to go through this,
Mm-hmm.
lose both of his parents,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing the reason being behind
You're right.
why his parents left him and why he lost both of his parents. It's confusing for him at such a young
Yes.
age, having to go through that and having to literally uproot your whole life and start a new one in a different city
Yeah.
is insane. You have to leave your friends behind. You have to leave his school behind, his friends that he made at the school. You have to literally uproot his whole life.
Yes.
My little brother, he was playing sports. He had a good set of friends that he hung out with
Mm-hmm.
at school, at church. Um, and we just had to start a new school
Right.
in the middle of the school year at that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, New school, all that good stuff. New home.
Mm-hmm.
I've been accustomed to a different way of living because my nanny and my mom, they did things differently. They still had the same, expectations to us or
Mm-hmm.
me and my little brother, but the way they approach things and their
Mm-hmm.
process of thinking are different.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
my mom, she disciplined us.
Mm-hmm.
When we get in trouble. My nanny, not really, but being the way she was, you had to respect her.
Mm-hmm.
And just off of that alone, she didn't have the discipline because we respected her. When we get in trouble, we respect her. And
Yes.
she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to go to those means,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So,
So, CJ, as I sit here just hearing, what your mom experienced and that night, that graduation night that was supposed to be a night of joy and a high and answer prayers and turned out to be just almost like a nightmare for you and your little brother. I It was difficult for me to hear that. I just, had to fight back tears and all of the above. And you so strong. Thank you, Jesus. I know it's the Lord. Cause my insides is just like bawling. All right, my insides is bawling, crying. What I want to go to, because this show is all about helping people to know what's out there, helping people to know who they hooking up with, who they're dating, who they marrying, who they having sex with, all of that, who they're becoming intimate with. Your mom, the man who took her life that night. I want to talk a little bit about this situation because you have some insights that our audience need to hear. The man that took her life that night, they were married for about 10 years. And on the outside, it looked like it was peaches and cream. But behind closed doors, he was a terror to your mom all the way up until that night that he took her life. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you saw this man do and who he really was. And we can call him Mr. Johnson or whatever you want to call him.